No? Yes, sir.
I have one question. How many coats are on these? If you just did the mist?
3 coats. 3 coats of True Oil and 3 coats of water-based finish. That's all I got on it right now. Last coat of water-based finish was this morning.
I don't see if there's a bulldog.
Okay, cutting your Intarsia pieces. That's what we're going to be doing next. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this pattern here, and if you look at it, I don't know if you can see the lines or not, but I came up with an idea of marking lines on there which I want to be dark colored woods. On this line that I have, it's made out of cherry and alder. Alder and cherry are really similar. You can stain alder to look like cherry, but when it patinas or turns darkened in time, cherry will get darker than alder. So when I remove this paper and stuff, you'll see it looks like the same wood. But hopefully in 3 to 4 years, you'll see a drastic change in the color of the piece. That's what I'm going for. I could have kept it all one color, all alder, but a lot easier to carve or to sculpt. But I like contrast. So.
Maybe will it darken quicker if you set it out in the regular sunlight?
Absolutely it will. Yeah, it'll turn really dark. Yeah, I might do that just to see what happens, and why not? That's, it's your project. Have fun doing this. There's no set rules to do Intarsia. This deer, where'd the little deer go? Oh dear, little one. You don't need a lot of tools to do this. This is my second one. This one here was out of that book that I showed you, a small drawing about this big. My father-in-law used to get us a deer, at least about 20 pounds of meat, round up. So I thanked him for that. So I made him a deer, and I gave him this to him. But this was done with a scroll saw and a Dremel. Those little sanding drums about the size of your pinky, and the bigger one about this size, the bigger drum. It takes a long time on number 4 or 5, but you can get done. You don't need a lot of tools to do this. So have fun doing this. It's all about learning and what you can do. But be careful too, because like in anything we do woodworking, when you buy dovetail jigs, you can do it by hand. It's nice to get that dovetail jig and that machine and things like that too. But it's just the way we're built. We're wired that way. Quicker, faster, more efficient, things of that sort. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut out this piece here. And you probably can't see with the microphone up there, or the camera.
You need 2 copies, so I put it back together?
Actually, I have 3 copies. No, that's a good question, Bill. I have 3 copies. One's my master copy, which I don't mess around with. When I make more copies of that pattern, I want to take that first pattern. If you take a copy of a copy of a copy of a copy, all those little specks on it, gets a lot of specks on it. And it doesn't turn out well. So whatever that master copy is your master copy. The second copy, what I do is I write my notes. I write my color scheme of what woods I'm going to use. And the other copies I cut out. So what I do is I have these 3 bins. One says cherry. One says alder. And the other one's walnut. So this is walnut, so I put it in this bin. So all the pieces I do of walnut go in here, all the pieces of cherry go in here, and alder go in here. Just so I know, I don't want to get confused. I have like 63 pieces here, so I want to know sure where they go. Now what you do, figure out the best grain direction. This other pattern had the lines on it, so I wanted to go this direction. Now, anytime you can do it, there's 4 parts of the paw on this lion. I want to keep them together. I don't want to make individual pieces, because if I made individual pieces, they may not fit very well. So what I do is I put it in like that. I put it on the wood for the best grain direction I like. And what I do is I take my pencil and I trace around it. These are just guidelines. These are not the lines I'm going to cut. I remove it. If I like that grain direction, I put the number down, 5, 4, 3, and 2. Then I put it on my backer board, Take my self-adhesive spray. Got nice furniture over here and stuff too, so we're gonna go like this. All right. About 5, 6, 7 hits. And you do about 5, 6 pieces at a time. Don't do one at a time. Pick it up like this. And you place it where you traced it. By doing this in sequence, cutting all the pattern pieces out, put them in groups, put them on spray, everything's in sequence. You do one step to the next step to the next step. So then what you do is you come over here and use a scroll saw. The types of blades I use for scroll sawing is I use a number 7 reverse for woods that are 3/4 inch to 1 inch quarter, like cherry. But the alder we're using here is 1 3/4. And I tried using a number 7 blade, and it wasn't square. So then I used the Olson blade. This is a 40200. I got the packet up here if you want to take a look at it. Woodcraft sells these. This is a Pegasus, and this is a modified geometry. One thing modified geometry means is the teeth are crisscrossed like that. So when you cut the wood, all the dust goes everywhere. It goes everywhere, so it doesn't stay intact and doesn't burn your wood. The blade doesn't get hot, and the blade doesn't break. That's one of the main reasons why blades break this thin. It gets hot, and the metal gets hot, and it breaks, and also the speed. The second reason why blades break is your tension in here. The tension in here is not tight enough, and when you start cutting, it'll come loose and it'll break right inside the wood. When you start cutting woods with this, a lot of woods, you'll know when your blade's about ready to break because you can feel the metal stretch. You count backwards from 5, and by the time you get to 2 to 1, boom, it breaks. It's just cutting a lot of Intarsia. But I'm going to pass these blades around. And these are reverse tooth. And what reverse tooth means is you have 7 teeth going up this way. How many people have cut wood on a bandsaw? What types of the wood fibers go? Down, right? So if you put 2 pieces together, those wood fibers hit, and it doesn't stay close gap. But these teeth go up from underneath and leaves you a clean cut on the bottom. And even that big one, that Olson blade that Woodcraft sells, is reverse tooth. I do like the Pegasus better than the Olson. The reason being is the blade is a lot sharper, and when you cut your wood like cherry, it leaves like a glass finish on your cut. They don't last as long. You only get maybe 10 to 15 pieces out of a blade. They are smooth though. They're really nice. All right. I like to use magnifiers when I use a scroll saw. For me, it just works a lot better. And I cut right down the middle of the line now. I used to cut on the left side, right side. I just cut right down the middle, and it all seems to work. Any questions about scroll saw blades?
Have you ever used the Flying Dutchman?
Yes, Flying Dutchman. I use that for marquetry, and also the number 3 Olson for marquetry. All the blades go one direction. Yeah, Flying Dutchman are nice. The number 5s, there's not very much teeth on them. The Pegasus, though, boy, they're sharp. I mean, they're actually sharp. It's a nice thing. You don't need to do fast, just medium speed. Make sure your tension's on high. So one thing about the DeWalt is all your gears are right here, your tension, your on-off switch, your speed control. You can cut this slow if you want. That's fine. Whatever works for you. And I would never cut this fast. That's too fast. Find a happy medium, a sweet spot, and then start cutting. When you're cutting, you also want to make sure that you put the pressure in the middle of the blade. What did one thing I forget to do, guys? Can you tell me? Before I started cutting? It's not a triangle. I didn't check if the blade was square to the table.
David, when you say keep pressure in the middle of the blade,
Yeah, right in front. right in front of the blade, right where the teeth are.